Hello everyone, thank you for visiting my channel. Imagine waking up one morning and hearing that the highest court in the United States just told the government, "Wait a minute, you can't do that." At the same time, something unexpected is shaking the political ground in North Carolina, and many people are calling it a political earthquake. So what exactly happened, and why is everyone talking about it? Let's find out. Imagine waking up one morning and hearing that the highest court in the United States just told the government, "Wait a minute, you can't do that." Not a small rule, not a minor policy, but something that affects billions of dollars in global trade. Sounds like the opening scene of a political drama movie, right? But this actually happened. And at the very same time, something equally shocking was shaking the political ground in North Carolina, what many people are calling a political earthquake. Let's break it down in simple terms. For years, tariffs have been one of the biggest tools governments use during trade wars. Think of a tariff like an extra fee added to products coming from another country. If a foreign product costs $100, the government might add a $20 tariff, making the total price $120. The idea is simple. Make imported goods more expensive so people buy products made at home instead. During his presidency, Donald Trump used tariffs quite a lot, especially against countries like China. But here's the twist. Many of those tariffs were created using something called emergency powers. Basically, the government argued that the situation was serious enough to be considered a national emergency, which allowed the president to act quickly. Now imagine a school principal saying, "There's an emergency, so I'm changing the rules today." Students might accept it once or twice, but what if the principal keeps doing it again and again? Eventually, someone is going to raise their hand and say, "Hold on, is this really an emergency every single time?" That's exactly the question that eventually reached the U.S. Supreme Court. The court took a close look at whether the government had stretched the idea of an emergency too far. And in a major decision, the Supreme Court ruled against the Trump administration's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs. In simple terms, the court said the government can't just label something an emergency whenever it wants to impose new trade taxes. This decision immediately sent shockwaves through Washington. Businesses, politicians, and economists began debating what it could mean for future trade policy. Think of it like this. Imagine you're playing a baseball game, and one team suddenly says, "New rule. Every time we hit the ball, it counts as a home run because it's an emergency." The other team would probably say, "That's not how the rules work." The Supreme Court basically acted like the umpire stepping in and saying, "Let's stick to the rule book." But while this legal battle was dominating headlines, something dramatic was unfolding hundreds of miles away, in North Carolina. People there started using a pretty powerful phrase, political earthquake. And honestly, it wasn't much of an exaggeration. Elections in North Carolina suddenly took an unexpected turn. Long-standing political expectations were flipped upside down. Districts that experts believed were completely safe suddenly became competitive. Some candidates who thought they would win easily suddenly found themselves in serious trouble. Imagine watching a football game where everyone expects Team A to win 4-0, but suddenly, Team B starts scoring again and again. Fans start looking around the stadium saying, "Wait, what just happened?" That's the kind of moment North Carolina experienced. Political analysts began asking some big questions. Was this voter frustration? Was it changing demographics? Or were people simply tired of the usual political drama coming out of Washington? And here's where things get even more interesting. The Supreme Court decision and the political shakeup in North Carolina might seem like two completely different stories. One is about international trade policy. The other is about elections in a single state. But both stories actually reveal the same deeper theme: power and accountability. In the Supreme Court case, the big question was whether the government could stretch its emergency powers too far. In North Carolina, the question was whether voters would continue supporting the same political patterns they always had. In both situations, the message was pretty clear. Democratic systems have limits. Courts check the power of government. Voters check the power of politicians. And sometimes those checks create moments that feel like earthquakes in the political world. Now, will this Supreme Court decision change future trade wars? Possibly. Future presidents might think twice before using emergency powers to impose tariffs. And will North Carolina keep surprising political experts? That's another story that's still unfolding. Politics, after all, is a lot like the weather. Experts can study patterns, analyze data, and make predictions. But sometimes a sudden storm appears that nobody saw coming. And when those storms hit, whether inside a courtroom in Washington or at a ballot box in North Carolina, the entire political landscape can shift almost overnight. So the next time someone tells you politics is boring, just remember this. One court decision and one unexpected election result can shake the system in ways nobody expected. And sometimes, the biggest plot twists don't happen in movies. They happen in real life.